greatest player of our generation and arguably the greatest player of all time, has finally made his decision. And LeBron James of LeBronto, of not 5, not 6, not 7, of Cleveland, this is for you, has gone to none of those places. He has gone to probably the strangest organization of the past 10 to 15 years. The process, having a number 1 pick, not 1, but 2, forget how to shoot a basketball. Mm-hmm. Of Brian Colangelo getting fired for having a burner account and criticizing his own team when he was the general manager of it. LeBron James is a Philadelphia 76er joining what I think is the most star-studded starting 5 of our lifetime. When you take into account Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid, and LeBron. LeBron James joins the Philadelphia 76ers on a 2-year deal, which I think is interesting and I want to get into a little bit with you. But Chuck, I think I was the first person to tell you about this because when I sent you the notification, you said, whoa. So if that was the case, or just sort of when did you see it and what did you think when you saw it?
Yeah, whoa is an understatement. And if that was my only reaction, this would be a pretty tough pod. Yeah, it's the 30 for 30 people over and over say is going to be insane for the Sixers, and then something else insane happens. There's just been so many twists and turns in the last decade or so over there, and it's too bad. I was there in Philadelphia for 3 years in person, and it was when Ben Simmons was holding out. And
which was another crazy thing that just happened.
Right. And yeah, it's funny. I mean, the quote of like, we don't need LeBron, we have Ben Simmons NBA talk. The fact that LeBron's still in the league, and that was like 10 years ago, is insane. Mm-hmm. Even more crazy is he's landing on this team that has a chance to contend, and that's what I've wanted for this last hurrah of Steph, KD, and LeBron, is just to be able to see them compete realistically for a title. And it seemed crazy when it happened that LeBron's going to Philly, but I think it is the best chance to win out of any teams he could have landed on. Do you agree?
Yeah, there's 2 elements of it. One of which was going east the best decision just to avoid Oklahoma City and San Antonio? Because I do think there's an idea of, would Minnesota or Denver, maybe, if you're not going to the top 3 teams, if you're not going to San Antonio, Oklahoma City, or New York, would those teams have given him a better chance? With Philly, to me, it's a ceiling floor argument. Mm-hmm. If Joel Embiid makes it into the playoffs, which put a massive asterisk on that because he's never made it to the second round healthy, let alone ever making the conference finals or in the event of actually making the NBA finals. But if those 5 guys are healthy, and you have a pretty good shot of that with Maxey, Edgecombe, and Brown, because say what you want about those 3 players, they play a lot of minutes and they play a lot of games. So we're not on this episode going to really get into like Philly's depth of, does the Adem Bona, Huck Porty center rotation really fit? But in terms of star power at the top, it gives them a fighting chance, which, to your point, especially when we're comparing it to someone like Steph in Golden State, where he's looking around and saying, there's just no stars here. LeBron can look around and say Jaylen Brown was an All-NBA player last year, as was Tyrese Maxey. Embiid is a couple of years removed from winning MVP of the league. Their star power here to where if it's clicking on a given night, they could legitimately look at themselves and say, we're one of the 2 to 3 best teams in the conference, and once you're that good, you have a chance of winning the conference and then by extension winning the whole thing. Where are you? Are you ready to pronounce them a favorite in the East, a favorite in the league? Where do you sort of think they stack up in the overall hierarchy?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the perfect team where LeBron can really just outthink and not have to use his 42-year-old body.
Hmm.
Um, he has guys in Jaylen Brown, like you're saying, that the other stars other than Embiid play every game and play high
Yeah.
minutes, and they play D as well. And Edgecombe, I mean, he's ascending. Tyrese Maxey's still ascending. Jaylen Brown just had his best year ever. So this team is not like expendables, like aging all stars. Like this is the future is now, and then you add LeBron into it. So I think it's gonna be a lot of growing pains. There's just so much newness, but I don't see why they can't be a top four, top five team. I mean, they're not going to be a playing team, so I'm saying they're top six.
Imagine if you're like Nick Nurse and Daryl Morey, and you're just two guys on complete opposite ends of the spectrum here. Where at some point it looked like both of them were going to be fired last year. Nurse keeps his
Tough for
job.
Daryl
Morey
Morey.
goes. Tough break, especially because Daryl Morey's entire basketball idea was stack as many stars on one team and see what happens. And now he's going to be sitting at home, like eating chips on a random Thursday night as the Sixers are just beating some bad team by
What does he
70
do
points.
now?
He's probably just collecting checks from the
Whatever.
76ers. He's not one of those, you normally see those executives go get like MBA consulting gigs. That's what Joe Dumars did before he became the Pelicans GM, where it's basically retirement benefits. It's probably still retirement benefits for Joe Dumars. It seems like he's sort of cashing it in New Orleans. Daryl Morey doesn't strike me as a guy that's collecting retirement benefits just yet. Also, that's what happens when you criticize China when the NBA's number one partnership is in China. So I think he's just going to be chilling for a bit and having to watch this team. And if you're Nick Nurse, you went from, I don't know if you remember this, but they had Paul George last year.
Yeah.
And they basically traded Paul George and 2 first-round picks for Jaylen Brown and LeBron.
Yeah. There was a time when you said we had to pull a joke, and I'm going to make the same joke. LeBron getting traded to the Sixers was the second tower. And Jaylen Brown for Paul George, no one knew it was coming, and that was.
What the what?
I have to let it run again because it's been a tough summer for the C's. It's been a tough summer.
I said I said make a joke, not make a 9/11 joke.
It's not a joke, man. It's not a
Oh
joke.
my god. Oh my god. Well, yeah, and I guess Paul George destroying the Celtics in the first round was ground zero because that's where the plan was laid. And
It was
look,
an
I
inside
think
job.
it was an inside job. Well, okay, so let's sort of dig into. I want to nail down a little bit more. You said you think they're top 4, top 5 in the conference.
Yeah.
If I were to say bet the money you put into your stock portfolio right before we jumped on onto what teams you think are better than Philadelphia. And I want to frame it as more likely to win the conference because I do think there's an element of this team of they may not win 60. They're not going to win 65 regular season games.
No.
All 5 guys are not going to play that much. To your point, there's going to be a lot of growing pains. So I'm not as worried about regular season wins. What teams in the East right now do you have more confidence in to actually win the conference?
Yeah. To actually win the East, I mean, the New York Knicks series would be momentous.
Incredible theater.
A back-to-back New York Philly, but this is a different Philly. I'm not bullish on the Cleveland Cavaliers, just any team that James Harden is on.
Mario Hezonja, though.
Yeah,
No,
Mario
that signing came out today. Mario Hezonja very famously blocked LeBron when he was on the Knicks and LeBron was on the Lakers at Madison Square Garden and sort of bossed him a bit. So maybe Cleveland said, we didn't even want LeBron. We wanted the LeBron stopper.
Yeah, and maybe the Pistons will get Kuminga, and then everyone will have got their guy. But to actually win the East, I mean, I guess they're the favorites now. Like, Orlando hasn't done anything. Atlanta's still like, eh. Toronto, even with Kawhi, is a bizarre team. So I mean,
I do think you're
I would
discounting.
put the Knicks over them, but not by much.
I would put the Knicks over them, and I would put them over pretty comfortably.
Sure.
I think the Philly, there is significant downside risk in Embiid and the idea of, and I don't want to get too much into the X's and O's on this episode. We have so much time before the season starts. There is an element of what is this actually going to look like? Jaylen Brown left the Celtics because he wanted to be the number one option, and now might look around on opening night and be like, wait, I'm the fourth option? And if Edgecomb's going off, all of a sudden I'm the fifth option? And so how that looks, I think you are discounting your own team just a little bit, where it's really easy to make fun of the Celtics in the middle of the summer after they trade Jaylen Brown coming off an All NBA appearance. They're a good team. They've won a championship. It will be a healthy season of Tatum. You still have Derek White there. There's a lot of players there. I think Boston is very much in contention. And here's a team that you didn't mention that I'm going to be very bullish on throughout the entire regular season into the playoffs is the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, it's cool to have.
I think the Pacers, they don't, they essentially trade Zubac for Turner. Everyone else from the finals team is still there. People are going to be super down on them because last year was a gap year for them. Philly, it's really easy now, before the ball has been tipped up in the air, to say that team is going to make the finals and win the championship. To me, and this was a question I heard on one podcast, probably one over at the Ringer last week or whenever the LeBron announcement came out, and so I'll ask it to you. What's more likely, the Sixers win the championship or lose in the first round?
Yeah. Who would they face in the first round? I mean, I think they have a better chance than anybody but the Knicks in the first round, and they wouldn't face the Knicks in the first round. So therefore, by the transitive property, they have a better chance to win the championship, I would say.
Nice. CJ Math in addition to CJ Hoops. I get it. I'm going to be a little bit lower on them than you. I would pick the lose in the first round scenario out of those two options. I think it's less to who. It could be a matchup. There's a lot of really good teams in the East, man. Like, we keep talking about this every week, and I think it's going to be a talking point throughout the season, and even as we get into the season. The East is better than the West.
Yeah, totally.
The West has the two best teams. To me, the East 1 to 11 is pretty significantly better than the West 1 to 11. So if you're in the playoffs in the first round and you catch a really hot Raptors team or Pacers team or Pistons team or whatever team, and all of a sudden Embiid misses a game or two, LeBron might miss a game or two, Jaylen Brown shoots a tour date, and you look up and you're down 2-1, anything could happen there. So I'm going to be a little bit more hesitant to, because I've seen a lot of this where, and look, it's LeBron James. He has more fans and he's achieved more success in our lifetime than essentially every NBA franchise, where he has the most wins, he has the most championships, he certainly has the most finals appearances. So you're seeing all of the LeBron fans run and say, wherever he goes, I go, and wherever he goes, success will follow.
Yeah. I just think LeBron is a basketball genius.
He is.
And you put pieces around him, and he knows exactly how to tie them together and lift them up. And he's never been surrounded by ascending stars in their prime like this. Mm-hmm. Even Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, they were established and needed to remold their games. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't the rising stars of Maxey. Edgecombe is serious. Jaylen Brown's still rising. I mean, he just had his best year. I think you combine the brain of LeBron with all of these pieces, and the bench is serious too. Like, he has his COVID bubble winning spot 3-point shooter, KCP. Simons can be plugged in probably.
Dean Wade. Dean
Oh
Wade.
yeah, my favorite guy, 20 minutes a game and like 0 of 3 for 2 points in Cleveland. Yeah, people are better when they play with LeBron. We've known this for like 15 years.
I totally agree. And you bring up the roster. It's something I've been thinking about. I wanted to run by you. On a scale, so let's say Jason Kidd joining the 2010 Mavericks. Not a ring chase at all. No one thinks that team is going to win a title. To Gary Payton and Karl Malone joining the 2004 Lakers, where they are only trying to win a championship. Where do you see LeBron joining the Sixers on the scale of how much is this a ring chase?
He's going to be so involved in this that I think Derek Fisher said it best. It's not ring chasing if you're the one creating the ring. And like LeBron's going to be as involved as any of these other guys, maybe the most involved. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. He's not a 10th man cheerleader. So he's as far from the Gary Payton hangers on to Kobe Shaq as you could be. I mean, even though he's 42 years old, like he is central to all of this. He's not, I don't think he ever is going to be like that and take a back seat. I think he would retire before he's ever just a hanger-on that doesn't have his hand controlling the whole game like the queen on the chessboard, because that's what he's always been.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that Bronny James's contributions to this team cannot be overstated when he, eventually makes his way to the 76ers because, like father, like son. Do you think that Bronny is going to join the Sixers?
No. I think LeBron let him fledge the nest now. I think he's all good there. Cute story. That was pretty cool, man. But I don't know, man. Like even Adem Bona, like as long as it's not DeAndre Ayton, like he's gonna make this whoever he has around him look awesome. That's what he does.
And yeah, you see it in the
Joel Embiid's knees. That's what like half of the NBA is just gonna be like holding their breath about. It's just gonna be night to night. Like, can Embiid look like he's not just like dragging a corpse across the floor and flopping all over? There's gonna be the counts of how many times he hits the floor. The debates of should we sit him? Should we, should he play 18 minutes a game? It's going to be a mess. There's going to be so much attention on this team. As a Celtics fan, I mean, it's pretty tough. But as an NBA fan, yeah, stoked for this. The East is going to be awesome. We haven't even mentioned Giannis.
Yeah.
He's on a team, finally, for the first time in about half a decade that actually can make some noise and isn't just a desperate pile of bad choices by the front office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be sweet.
Let's take a break here, and then I want to come back and do some winners and losers from this, starting with a certain big man in Washington who may actually end up being the biggest winner out of this entire decision.
Cool.
This episode is sponsored by TRG Podcast Network, the #1 podcast network. We have a couple of great shows on the channel. We have CJ Hoops, which you guys are listening to now. We also have the TRG Agency podcast. I would recommend checking that out on YouTube. We have full episodes there where we talk to really exciting professionals in the creator marketing space. If you are looking for more content, I highly recommend checking it out. We have a super fun episode coming out this week with someone at Wasserman, one of the big agencies across sports and entertainment. You can catch all clips and full episodes at TRGSE Agency. And thank you for listening to this episode. And with that, we will be back. Chuck, we're back. We're going to do some winners and losers here. I teased it at the end of the last one, the last segment. I want to start here. It's been everyone's favorite Twitter joke since the second LeBron signed. Do we actually think that the 76ers would ever consider trading the process Joel Embiid? And would they trade one injury-riddled big man for another injury-riddled big man? Do you buy into any of this Joel Embiid for Anthony Davis talk?
What would the trade look like?
Joel Embiid and a couple of draft picks for Anthony Davis.
And all that money that works. I mean, I guess they're
It
both.
works. It works 1-to-1. They're both on mega contracts. It would maybe require a little bit of float on one side or the other. But Embiid starting a 3-year max extension, AD last year, and then a player option. He's going to want a big extension. You could essentially just swap problems. The Sixers could use a couple of the draft picks they've picked up in other trades that they haven't used in the Jaylen Brown swap to incentivize Washington to bring LeBron's buddy home. You're going to see the conversation around why does AD make sense. He's a much cleaner fit defensively, and he's less ball dominant than Embiid is. And on a team that already has so many high usage players, would it make a little bit more sense to just have AD's rim running, defense, rebounding on the team? What do you think?
I think that Embiid extension that Daryl Morey made, it didn't get him fired immediately, but that was the worst investment that you could possibly make. It's like needlessly, A, it was needless, like it didn't have to happen then. And B, he'd shown that his knees are not, that they can't carry him. He had a pretty apparently miraculous surgery before last year, and he had his healthiest year in a long time. And I feel for Embiid, whereas like there's a lot of groupthink on the internet of just hate for him. And if you kind of look into his story, I mean, he's a recluse of a guy because the world just hates him, and all he wants to do is play basketball and be healthy. And everyone thinks that he's just a fat slob that doesn't care. And he's been through some really rough shit. All of that being said, I would take Anthony Davis's body any day of the week, dude. Like, and, bro, like, him and LeBron have won a championship together. Embiid has never been through the second round. Like, it's obvious I would take AD. Embiid is like held together by paper clips and this surgeon whatever he did. Like, give me Anthony Davis.
That wasn't even a compliment sandwich. That was an open-faced compliment sandwich of let's be really nice to him, build up his trade value, and then immediately kick him off the bus or the plane if we're just doing plane.
I just wanted to say it wasn't personal. That's all.
I don't think Washington would do it. I don't.
No.
It doesn't seem like they would be interested in. They're too busy trying to chase the 8 seed and make sure that AJ DeBonsa will never get to touch the ball ever for the entirety of his rookie contract. It makes sense.
Want to be relevant, and they are.
It makes it. Here's, I think Bill Simmons was the one that I saw on Twitter come up with this trade, and it's less sexy. It was, I believe, Joel Embiid for Daniel Gafford, Klay Thompson, and PJ Washington. Yeah. Does that do anything for you? Are you when you're saying the Embiid open-faced compliment sandwich of this is a really nice story, he's a recluse, but get out? Does that get out lead you to believe anything within reason would be a good investment on getting rid of Embiid? Or would it have to be someone as good as Anthony Davis that would make you pull the trigger on a trade like that?
I mean, it's got to be a center, right? Unless
Daniel Gafford's a center.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson moves like a center.
Maybe the Mavs have been stacking up power forwards this whole time with something in mind. Sadly, Nico Harrison is not there, and while they're doing things that don't totally make sense, I don't think anyone's trading for Embiid and taking that on. It just
why
would anyone ever do that?
Is that Matt Ishbia music we're hearing coming out of the woodwork?
Would be
here come the Suns?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, everyone except Philly's front office knew that Embiid is a terrible investment, and I don't think anyone else would ever take that on.
No, and you mentioned it. We're not going to belabor the Embiid point here too much because I want to get to a few other winners and losers and any you might have. the Embiid extension coming after the Olympics, where he barely made it through the Olympics and was limping around on one leg in that tournament, just really, really great work from Daryl Morey in the front office.
But
So that was
that's what swung this trade. Like LeBron likes Embiid and playing with Embiid from
you
that.
believe that?
Embiid was a big part of the pitch. I don't think LeBron would go to a team with a guy that they were going to trade. Like he wants to play with Embiid in some capacity.
That's actually a great question. So rank the starting five or the four minus LeBron in terms of what players you think actually swayed LeBron most to sign with the 76ers.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to look back at like who he's actually played with. He obviously keeps an eye on the league, although he does do a lot of golf and wine and actually might not keep that close of an eye on the league. But I would think Maxey is like everyone would want to play with Maxey. Yeah. All smiles, just does what is needed and gives 100. Just seems like a genuinely great guy. That's probably the number one. And then I don't think he would have went there if Jaylen Brown hadn't gotten there. Yeah. So, yeah.
I would put Jaylen 2, VJ 3, and Embiid 4. It was really interesting. Rich Paul said on the Game Over podcast when he was describing the team, he started with Maxey.
Yeah,
and obviously Tyrese Maxey is a clutch client, and you could say there's ulterior motives, and Rich is hyping up his guy, and there's some element of that, I'm sure. But it was very interesting to hear Rich say, LeBron saw what Tyrese did. And then he said, if I'm Nick Nurse, I look at what LeBron did with Kyrie Irving in Cleveland in terms of some of those 1-4 pick and rolls and the inverted pick and rolls. And Rich very clearly said, that's what I think the team will be. And so that was sort of to answer my own question. I think Maxey really was the driving force. And you mentioned it, man. Like, we talked about it during the season. We text about it when we're just watching Philly games. Like, that's a guy I would want to play with, a guy I would want to support. Like, he's not really that much of an on-ball dominant player as much as you would expect someone that averages 28 points a game. This isn't quite Jalen Brunson or James Harden or I'm going to dribble the ball for 18 seconds and you're all going to sit around. I think Maxey is going to have a massive season playing off LeBron, playing in transition, being able to spot up. Like I think that's a fantastic move for LeBron, for Tyrese, and for the Sixers as a whole. So big winner, although we didn't actually think he would get traded, was Anthony Davis. Did you have any other big winners or losers from LeBron signing with Philadelphia?
Yeah, I mean all the would-be suitors. Golden State.
Was there one that you think is going to have a particularly depressing dinner at the house tonight with their family when they say, "Hey, Dad, what's wrong?" and the dad is just quietly crying in his seat?
I mean, probably Cleveland. Yeah, because they're not a sinking ship, but they are in need of saving because they're just running it back with something that clearly doesn't work. And Harden is just getting older. And Golden State's kind of the same way, where they've been a sinking ship for a couple of years, and they keep trying to like redress it up and put some lipstick on it, and then that lipstick just tears its ACL and it gets worse, and they draft somebody who sucks, and they're so lucky they got that one last title against the Celtics, because everything since, and even leading up to that, was really rough from the front office. So those two teams are losers, but they have been losing. So I don't think anyone's devastated. Miami, I thought that was the other team I thought he could have went to. That would have been like, okay, he's the one who's going to make Bam and Giannis work. And now, I don't know. That's gonna be strange, but I'm excited. It'll be entertaining, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's the team when I was thinking about Pat Riley just sort of going home to his wife and at this point probably great-grandkids or certainly grandkids and just saying, "Hey, Grandpa, what's wrong?" And he's like, I waited all this time for Giannis, and now I'm starting Giannis, Tim Hardaway Jr., Davion Mitchell, Bobby Portis, and Bam. And this is what I'm doing at 80 years old. Like, I don't know how real it ever was that LeBron was going to go there. But I like Cleveland. I agree from it's a sinking ship standpoint. But I still think Cleveland's going to win a lot of regular season games, and who knows? Probably not, but maybe. Golden State and Miami are the ones where I'm like, this now could get pretty bad pretty quick. Probably more Golden State, just because at least Giannis is a little bit younger than Steph, and Giannis might be able to just drag a bad team to 45 wins. Golden State, I could see actually being bad. But Miami, I just don't see it. I don't think the team's very good. And I'm not sure, you and I talked about it briefly last week, I'm not even sure how clean of a fit the Bam, Giannis, LeBron lineup would have been. But it would have been a whole lot better than what Miami's now going to roll out on opening night. Because they're going to sign one of these older veterans, the Brad Beals, the DeMar DeRozan, some guy that's just sitting out there. And Miami's going to play it up as this guy was good. And I don't know how good. We had already gone through the depth in the East. I'm not very confident in Miami being able to really make that much noise now that the roster is currently constructed.
Yeah. And
did you have a winner that wasn't? Yeah, go ahead. If you had anything else to add on Miami or Golden State.
Just the fact that LeBron is like, I'm going to take the biggest pay cut of all time and just be icing on a team rather than like you need to trade anything, let alone trade the farm for me, makes it, it's pretty stark. Just losers, they lost out on a free LeBron, and that hurts.
Yeah. I have a couple of winners. Was there one that you had just thinking about LeBron? Maybe it's someone on the Sixers. Maybe it's just someone else in the NBA that benefits from LeBron not being in a conference or on a certain team.
I mean, if you're really cynical and think that Luka is like a megalomaniac that needs the ball at all times and needs his own team and whatever, you could call Luka a winner. But who are you thinking?
Well, the one I wanted to start with, because I meant to bring it up in the Philly segment, Adam Silver, big winner here, finally gets to release the league schedule, which he had come out last week and said he would like LeBron to make a decision. This is my question for you. Who do the Sixers play on opening night? And then who do the Sixers play on Christmas?
You got to play the Celtics one of these. That's gonna be just fireworks on all the Jaylen Brown, Paul George levels. And, of course, Boston is going to blame Jaylen for leaving when we traded him. So, but that's just how that's going to go. Did he force his way out? Who knows? I don't care. So you got to play the Celtics one of those. Probably opening night. That's starting it off with a bang. You could go against Miami probably on Christmas and just bring the Giannis clash into everything and old Miami news of LeBron. That's the
I mean that's the schedule makers got gifted an unbelievable, because there's so many different ways you could go. You could I don't think LeBron's going to travel on Christmas, but you could have him go back to LA and play Luka. You could have him play Golden State and Steph. You could have him go back to Cleveland and the former scorned lover getting one more chance to sort of give you the middle finger. You had mentioned Boston with also the added element of not only the Jaylen Brown trade, but I mean, would you not say that one of LeBron's biggest team nemesis outside of Golden State has been Boston? Like, that's sort of the team that he's fought forever. So I think that's great theater. The one other winner I wanted to touch on, and it's sort of a collection of teams, and we're going to keep bringing it up because I think it cannot be brought up enough times. I think the middle of the West is now just super gettable. Like, if you're Houston, LeBron's gone, there's no reason that the 3 seed is not a really viable option. If you're Denver, who is probably going to lose Peyton Watson, but It's still a really good team with a lot of good players. If you're even the Lakers or the Timberwolves, like I think those teams now can reasonably look at themselves and say, there's two Goliaths in our conference, but if we have our shit together, we can make the second round. And then who knows? Anything could happen at that point.
Yeah, and the West, I mean, so a lot of teams kind of stayed the same or got a little bit worse. The Lakers got a little bit worse. The Rockets stayed the same. The Nuggets got a little bit worse, probably. But you're adding the Jazz into the fold. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Clippers are, they're going to be probably playing too good to be the Kings. But
thanks for mentioning them, but I think we're okay.
And then the
Blazers. I'm gonna be more focused on how much Keaton Vogler can bench press than I am about how good this Clippers team is this year. Because if he can bench press 155, I'll be stunned.
Oh, is he twiggy?
The Summer League highlights were very concerning. I think I brought it up. I forget if you were on the pod or someone else. I sent the text in one of my basketball group chats saying if Keaton Vogler was given 100 chances to get by Steph Castle, I don't think he's getting to the basket once. Yeah. So, not great. But, the good news is Grady Dick is also probably going to be there. So, this is really cool.
If you slept for like a few years on any team in the league and just woke up and were like, I probably didn't miss much, would the Clippers be one of those teams? I
don't know. It's
one of my top picks of like, I'm just gonna hit snooze for 3 years.
Oh, you're saying going forward?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Clippers are. It was so funny, and I was listening to. You ever listen to those Simmons and Lowe redraftables?
They're pretty boring.
Okay, so for a junkie like me, I think they're really cool.
Okay.
And they did an episode that came out right in the beginning of 2020. I forget what year they were doing. Maybe it was 20. I don't remember. But it was right before. It was during sort of the COVID break, right before the league went into the bubble. And Zach Lowe says to Bill, they're talking about the Clippers. They might be talking. Oh, this is the 2009 NBA draft with Blake, Harden, and Steph Curry.
Okay.
And they're going through that. And Zach is talking about Blake Griffin, and he says something along the lines of, Blake Griffin is really the guy that started this whole thing. So that when the Clippers win a championship with Kawhi and Paul George, which could happen as soon as this year, I hope they bring Blake Griffin back so that he can be a part of the championship celebration. And I pressed pause as I was vacuuming in my house. And after a single tear shed, I just realized, everyone thought that team was going to win a championship. Because why wouldn't you? You had Kawhi, who was coming off a finals MVP. You had Paul George, who was third in the MVP voting. You had Montrez, Lou Will, Pat Bev. You had all of these guys. And if you would just say to someone in that moment, hey, man, 7 years later, Russell Westbrook and James Harden will have come onto the team. John Wall will have come onto the team. And nothing is going to happen. This team is not going to even make an NBA Finals. They're going to make one conference finals, and they're going to lose to a DeAndre Ayton alley-oop buzzer beater. Yeah, I don't know how we got on this topic, but just a tough beat to hear that and then realize what the Clippers are now going to be looking at for the next 3 years.
Yeah, those were the exciting years.
Those were the exciting years.
Now you guys are kind of like the Bulls of the West, where it's just going to be mediocre for a while.
We'll see. Well, the good news is Steve Ballmer is going to make sure to pay someone under the table so that doesn't happen.
Yeah, he does care, clearly.
He cares a lot more than the Reinsdorfs care. Okay, I wanted to close it here, but that's just way too depressing of a topic to end on. So anything else? Chuck's extra minute. Have you seen the Odyssey yet? Anything just in pop culture or life you wanted to chat through?
Odyssey's coming next Tuesday, but...
Nice. 70 millimeter?
No, and now I'm already kicking myself because the reviews are coming in, and it just... I've never been really super struck by a Christopher Nolan film. Interstellar was the closest thing, but then I just rewatched that, and it's fine, but it's clunky. And
Okay.
you're not a
You're not a Dark Knight guy.
that's the best of it.
Okay.
But it's not my thing.
Yeah.
But that is unequivocally fantastic, objectively.
Yeah.
And I hope this is as well. I mean, all the wattage. Matt Damon is the lead of my favorite movie ever, Good Will Hunting. Is his performance going to be anything like that? Of course not. But it's pretty cool to see someone who's like one of our generation's actors. He's going out with this performance that's going to be the last of its kind for him, where he's like an action hero, the main guy. Strap me to the mast of a ship, and I'm gonna have these grueling shoots for months. Like this is it for him being like a A-list blockbuster thing, and apparently it's being done justice. So I'm pretty excited for it. When are you seeing it?
August 7th at 7 o'clock in the morning at Universal City Walk in 70 millimeter IMAX.
Had to get what you get.
Dude, in LA, it's crazy. Like, they're showing it at City Walk. It's 3 a.m., 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 3 p.m., 7 p.m., 11 p.m. They're showing it around the clock.
Yeah.
And when I booked the tickets 3 weeks ago, this showing was the first showing that had a seat available that wasn't in the first 3 rows. Like, my 7 a.m. showing is completely sold out.
You booked it how long ago?
Couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm different.
Dude, you can go.
I was planning to go to the 3 a.m. The 3 a.m. was completely sold out for the first 2.5 weeks.
That's freaky.
No, man, and this is the theater I think where Nolan saw it, and he said this is there's just not many 70 millimeter theaters in the States.
You actually notice that stuff? I don't notice that stuff.
I'm a little bit different than you. Like Nolan, as a 29-year-old white man, it's sort of tracks very well that Nolan is my favorite director. Like Memento, Prestige, and Dark Knight are 3 of my 15 favorite movies of all time. So, like, producer Sean and I had a full 2-hour FaceTime after he saw the Odyssey, where we ranked every Nolan movie and had a pretty contentious debate about it. And I like all of them. And I decided that for this one, I wanted to just see it I would wait and see it in the format. And I've seen people see it regularly and then see it in 70 and say it's better in 70. I've seen people see it regularly and say it's still amazing, however format you see it in, just see it. And I was like, you know what? I'll be patient. It'll come around. I can't wait. And you said it, man. There's a spectacle element to this that is just really cool to see with movies, where everyone's seeing it, everyone's talking about it, and it's fun to just see people going to the movies and excited about going to the movies. And this is one of the greatest stories ever created. And it's awesome that it has this amount of star power attached to it. And I can't wait. Like anything Nolan does, like when Oppenheimer was first like discussed, I was like, this movie I gotta see. So all of his movies, I'll be waiting at the door.
It's pretty cool that he was part of the last time the entire culture went to the movies.
Yeah. He's that director now. He really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he gets the crazy part is, and I listened to one conversation where he gets the blank checkbook, but his movies also don't lose money, which is a really impressive balance to strike, because a lot of directors have been given a $500 million budget, and you're seeing it. I don't know if you saw, you don't strike me as like a big Avengers or Marvel person, no. But the Avengers Endgame or whatever the Doctor Doom version is came out, and that movie is going to cost an absolute fortune, and it looks awful.
Yeah, it's just
and so the fact that he was given a blank checkbook to make this movie, and this movie is going to be an absolute monster, and will certainly make money at the box office, and will probably win a boatload of awards. Like, it's impressive the way he's able to do it.
Yeah, and I love a guy that doesn't just do CGI like crazy and just have terrible cuts. Like he like really cares about the frames that he puts stuff in, and it's gorgeous. And I mean, the stories behind his sets, like he planted an entire huge corn field that was a functioning farm and still is for Interstellar. Like that farm still exists, and they made it just for the movie.
Yeah.
Like he does stuff like that. Um, Obviously, the rotating Inception set where they have the fight scene is like a real thing. Um, so I mean, I'm stoked to see that aspect. As far as the 70 millimeter thing, though, like I'm getting really into coffee right now, and the theory and like everything, like the technique and all of that. But you put like 4 espressos in front of me, and one of them says fruity, and the other says earthy, and the other says whatever, and I can't really taste the difference. So like, yeah, it's cool to know all the different formats and stuff, but like I don't have eyes for like what's 70 millimeter versus not.
Chuck's Barista Minute will be an upcoming segment that I cannot wait to get.
But my taste is.
Well, what a way to end it, because nothing screams basketball podcast like 70 millimeter conversations and coffee. Chuck, we'll be back next week. Everyone, please follow along at CJ Hoops Pod. We will be coming out with weekly episodes during the off season. As always, this is our summer series. If you have any ideas for what we should do, please let us know. Like, we might try and do a mailbag at some point, which I think could be fun. Chuck wants to do a worst franchises ever draft. If you have any ideas on what are the worst franchises, we'd love to hear from you. And yeah, we appreciate the support. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Until next time, Chuck.
Yeah, and it's not worst. It's least hope, which makes Chicago very high on this list.
Sneak preview of a potential upcoming episode. And with that, we'll leave. See you, Chuck.
Later.